So for anyone who lives in a democratic country, in the UK, we have two systems of parliament. We have one where we vote for them and they do like the usual election cycle nonsense. And we have members of parliament. We have a prime minister who we vote for. And that's called the House of Commons. And the idea is it's common people who get voted into positions of power. Whether that's true or not, don't know. But in theory, at least, anyone in the country could be voted into office there. And then we have a totally separate second one called the House of Lords, where actual lords and ladies, barons and baronesses who are born into power or who just get arbitrarily assigned power by the government, just keep it for life. You can't vote for them. You can't vote them out. There's nothing you can do about it. They have a bunch of bishops in there, picked by the church, but none from any of the million other faiths. It's completely garbage. It's not democratic at all. We should abolish the House of Lords. It is terrible. But if you suggest getting rid of the monarchy or overthrowing the House of Lords, getting rid of it, replacing it with some other second chamber like they do in the USA, then people will get all angry for no reason because British people do not like traditions changing. I mean, this has been the system that we've had since like the UK Civil War, whenever that, it probably wasn't the UK then, was it? The English Civil War? The English Civil War was in 1646. So when did the House of Lords and House of Commons start? Okay, so it is actually since 1801, but it's still 200 plus years old, and it's very hard to change traditions in the UK. But yes, I mean, if you're born into power or the government just decides they're just going to put you in a position of power for the rest of your life, then they can just do it. And they picked Dr. Hilary Cass like directly after this. I mean, it's probably one of those things that I can't legally say because we don't have freedom of speech in this country, but it might appear to some outsiders that it looks like some situation where they're like, oh, can you write a bullshit report about trans people? We'll give you power if you do. Of course, I could never know whether that was true or not, and I would never claim such a thing unless I was a citizen of another country. No, I wouldn't know whether that happened or not. Dear England, please invade the US, love from Kentucky. Alan, I don't think you know what you're talking about. We are a terrible country too. I mean, we've already invaded the US once. Before it was the US. We've done that. Been there, done that. So, someone here, Miloscope, saying, I'm a bit torn on the Lords, to be honest. They do sometimes restrain the worst excesses of the elected government. I'd be more opposed if we didn't have the first past the post. Yeah. So this is getting a bit into the weeds on British politics systems. We have a system called first past the post, which means it's not proportional representation. It's just the person who gets the most votes. So if there are 5 left-wing parties and they all get 100 votes each, and then there is one Nazi party and it gets 101 votes, they would win. It's just who gets the most. And you can form coalitions and blah, 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 blah. But it means that it's not proportional, and it's about just being a force. So often you get this situation where the left-wing vote is split across multiple parties because left-wing people can't agree on anything, and then there's one big, loud, obnoxious right-wing party, and they don't really represent most people in the country, but they're just the biggest bloc. And then often the House of Commons will propose some bullshit law, and then the House of Lords waters it down. I mean, that does seem to traditionally be what happens, but there's no reason why that has to keep happening. And I mean, if they just stack it with a load of right-wing people, then there's no reason why that would necessarily keep happening. I don't trust it. It just would make more sense to have some people you can actually vote out. Yeah. No, you don't want to be invaded. You don't want to be invaded by the UK. That would be terrible, I'm telling you.